ever since Demon1 left EG in 2023, he hasn't been able to recapture some of the magic that he had at that Champions run, being the undisputed best player in the world. And some of the weight definitely falls on his shoulders in this situation, but I also think that a large part of his failure is due to the structure of the team that he's been placed in and just not really understanding how to utilize a player like Demon1 correctly. So let's actually look at this champs run that EG had to kind of get a frame of reference for why Demon1 was so good and how they properly utilized him. You're going to look at the group stage. They end up playing Pearl twice, Ascent, and Bind. And Demon1's going to be your hard entry on Pearl and Ascent. And it definitely makes sense that it's going to be a hard entry on Ascent. You're just going to be playing the default comp on that map, I guess, unless you're FPX. And for Pearl as well, he is going to be your only entry until they get out of the group stage, where you notice they put Ethan on Yor to help support Demon1 in those backlines when he is entrying. On Bind, you're going to have Jojimo being their main entry, with Demon1 being on a more supporting Brimstone role. The exact same thing for Fracture as well, and Lotus for that matter. So when you're looking at Evil Genius's winning chaps, their final map pool, Demon1 is only playing hard entry on Ascent. That's the only map where he's like your solo duelist. On Split, he is going to be going in with Jojimo as well. They saved this for the grand finals, to be fair. Prior to this, they had Demon1 on Astra, and they had Boostio on Chamber. I feel like this should have been Demon1 on Chamber if you want to run this comp, but whatever. They end up switching for the grand finals, and again, Jojimo's going to be your main entry. Demon1's going to be your trade fragger. They end up losing Ascent, but it's still a close map, but Demon1 is going to be your main entry. You have Jojimo as your main entry on Bind. You have Jojimo as your main entry on Lotus. Demon1 is main entry on Ascent, and that's it. So let's see how NRG utilizes Demon1, and I think they have a decent idea in this first stint where they're just like, okay, we're going to get this guy on his comfort role, we're going to get an op in his hands, and we're just going to set him up. And that's basically just what they would do. On Sunset, they would just send him down the A line every single round, and he would just hold that deep line with the op. And I don't agree comp-wise, meta-wise, that you should be running a Jet on Sunset, but again, I like the idea of, okay, let's just get this guy on his comfort role. They're always picking Ascent as well. As I said earlier, if you can't play Jet on Ascent, you just should not be playing Jet all damn Breeze in the map pool. So it's a good idea from NRG, and then on a map like Split, where they want to run a race, they put him on an Omen. So I like how NRG approaches in the first split. Maybe he could have some more support on maps like Sunset. Maybe in a map like Breeze, put a Yoru here. I don't know if he would have actually needed it because it's not a huge sample size, but the idea isn't bad. You're going a little bit away from the meta to support a player, which isn't always the best idea, but when supporting the player is Demon1, I can definitely get behind that. And there's a really big change in mentality for NRG between kickoff and the first split, and it's going to come with putting Demon1 on Raze, putting him in a more meta role. And I think these opening games against Loud and Furia were honestly just really unlucky for them and boosted their confidence to a point where it shouldn't have been, because the Demon1 Raze did not look very good. You have a Loud coming back from visa issues from Madrid, pretty much no practice. Furia, just not that great of a team. And you have NRG stomp them. On this Breeze map, you're going to put Demon1 on the Jet. Ethan on the Yor, as I said, I think that's the only change I would make, and I really, really like this comp. I think this is not only the best comp you could run, but I think it's just really helpful to have Ethan supporting Demon1. So really like that choice. Sunset, they're going to put Demon1 on the Raze, and to be fair, he fries this game, just goes absolutely nuclear. It wasn't necessarily the Raze, but he was cooking for that first game. Then you're going to have Split, where they also absolutely farm Furia, and I really like this comp that they're running on Split. Again, I think this really supports Demon1 by allowing Victor to be that more traditional hard entry, and then just having Demon1 get set up by him. It's the same idea here on this Breeze map, though he went absolute nuclear on this map against Furia again. Then we get to this Lev series, and he gets exploited hard, 0-9 in first on this Sunset map, just completely taken apart, isn't able to get any value. On Bind, it's pretty much the exact same situation as well. It goes 2-6 on the entries, really not able to get any value. And to be fair, Lev just hard countered NRG in this scenario, but a big part of that hard counter was just absolutely gutting this Demon1 Raze. Then you get to this EG series, and this is where it falls apart. On Ascent, you're going to have him on the Jet. Again, I think this is fine. You maybe could put him on the Killjoy and then have Victor play Jet. That's kind of the only other choice that you have, though. There's not really a ton of creativity on this Ascent map. And then you get to Lotus. You put Victor on Race, which I like. I agree with this. You put Demon1 on Brimstone, and you put Marv on Cypher. And we'll get back to that in just a second. And then on Sunset, Demon1 is back on Raze, and you put Victor to the Cypher again, and they are not able to win it. They lose just barely. Demon1 not able to find a ton of value on entries. In their final series against 100 Thieves, they're trying to go back to this Raze idea where they have just double duelist. Again, I like the double duelist on Split. Doesn't end up working out against 100 Thieves. They go back to this Raze on Bind, and it's a little bit too late. Unfortunately, they are out of the season. And then you have some unfortunate real life circumstances, plus FMS and Som wanting to come back in there, where you have Demon1 leaving the team for the second half of the year. And you can't really flame the NRG guys for that too much. I think that was probably more so his choice, but not the best. So overall, I don't think that NRG did a horrible job at utilizing Demon1. They had the right idea on certain maps. Like, I love the Breeze comp. I like the Split comp. I really think that those are setting up Demon1 for success, allowing him to play the type of style that he wants to. And then you have maps where he's put in a more supportive role. And I also think that's great. On a map like Bind, he's put in a more supportive role towards the end there. But still, I think that's good. I think on Sunset, they should have put him in a supportive role and just completely took him out of the duelist position. Just put that guy on Cypher, switch him and Victor around. I think he would have been able to find a lot more value there. I just don't think Jet is good at Sunset at all. You should be running a Raze on that map, and the Demon1 Raze was not very good. So yeah, you should put him on Cypher. And I also think that he should have been on Cypher for Lotus as well instead of Mars on Cypher. Not that Marvin is like a horrible Cypher player, but he's like a really, really good Brimstone player. So I feel like we should definitely have that guy on his comfort role. So it just feels like half of the ideas for NRG were good in Demon1's favor, half of the ideas were good for maybe the other team's favor, half the ideas were good for like the meta, and it all together just didn't work. And the reason that I bring this up is because we are seeing these exact same issues on this Leviathan team, where we have this mixed identity of how do we want to use this Demon1 player. And if you look at their first series against Furia, he's going to go solo Jet on Haven, which is like, it's fine. It's not the best comp at all that they could be running. There's something called the Fnatic comp, where you could put Demon1 on ISO. Sounds pretty good to me, but I digress. They end up doing fine here. On Split, solo Raze. We'll get back to this, trust me, but don't love that idea. Then on Pearl, he's going to be entering hard Yoru. Just hard Yoru, solo Pearl. Horrible idea. I'm not going to gripe on it too much because they end up switching it right away. They recognize it, but just really bad idea to put Demon1 on a supportive entry agent. That's what Yoru is. He's got supportive flashes. He gets really deep in the site. He makes that space for the rest of his team. Demon1 is not the player that you should be putting on that role. For Fracture, he's actually going to be on the Brimstone, which I have no problems with. I think that's great. Putting a tank on Raze, he's an amazing Raze player. Does pretty good in those first fights as well. Then against this series, against MIBR, he's back on Raze on Lotus. I don't know why. Maybe the tank just didn't want to for that game. On Pearl, they changed up this comp. And again, I love this Pearl comp. I actually think this is a really good idea. I think you should probably have this be a Yoru instead of a Phoenix, if we're being honest. I do think that's better. But again, I really like the idea of this Pearl comp. Definitely a step in the right direction. And then he's back to Raze. So I hear you, dear viewer. Why are they putting Demon1 on Raze on some of these maps? Not all of them, mind you, just some of them. Why are they putting Demon1 on Raze when he's not even the best Raze player on the team? He's not even in the top half of Raze players on this team, actually. I would rather Natank and Tex and King be on Raze. And on Lotus specifically, I actually think you could sub all of them out instead of Demon1. You could just do a direct swap right here, put Demon1 on Astra so he's more comfortable. Now, I usually wouldn't recommend that. I like having King on smokes, but you could do it. You could have Demon1 switch just directly with Tex here, put him on the Killjoy or odvious, just have him in a hard anchor position, let him take fights, don't have to worry about that pesky util. You can get, and this one's a little bit complicated, but hear me out. They get salaried. I think they could handle it. You could put Natank on Raze, Calm on Fade, because he's one of the best scan players in the world. I know his solo is more renowned, but his Fade's pretty good as well. And then you put Demon1 on Viper. I know it's a new role, but it's like the perfect role for him. He gets to lurk around the map. He gets to choose his timings with the Viper role when he wants to take a 1v1. Like, that sounds amazing. You go to a map like Split, you can just put him on this hard Sentinel role. As Cypher specifically, I think the role that Cypher has on Split would be perfect for Demon1. He gets to lurk around the map, just take his aim duels, be the hard anchor in the back of sites. I just don't get why they're putting him on support role on a map like Fracture. Makes a lot of sense. And then not doing it on maps like Lotus and not doing it on maps like Split. It just doesn't make sense. And it might just be because he's played Brimstone at the top level before, so he feels comfortable on an agent like that. And he hasn't played Killjoy, he hasn't played Cypher, he hasn't played Viper. He doesn't know how that would go. But I'm saying that they should make him learn these agents because I think that this is the role that he needs to be on. This Leviathan team is so unbelievably flexible that I think that you could actually just hard substitute Demon1 for like Hex or King. You could put Demon1 on Smoke and just put King on Initiator, put a tank on Duelist, or you could put Demon1 on Hard Sentinel and just have Tex be your hard Duelist player like he was in Tier 2. Let the guard get to Tier 1, by the way, for anyone that forgot. Like, this team is so flexible. It has the tools to allow Demon1 to be in a position where he is the most comfortable, and they're just not doing it. And I don't know if it's like a thing where Demon1 wants to be the entry duelist. He wants to be going in for his team, or that's just how they see him as like, this is our star duelist player. He needs to be making the space for us, but it's not working. And I don't think it's going to work. So unless something changes, I think this Leviathan team could begin for a bit of a rough season. I think the best choice for them to make would be just switching Tex and Demon1 straight up. And then if you ever want to play Demon1 or Double Duelist, then you of course have Demon1 on the support for the Double Duelist. I think that would be absolutely amazing. You have a ton of success with that. Just allow Demon1 to be in a trading position. Instead of being the one to make all the space for his team, he can just go in, get these trading kills, play the hard anchor position, lurk around the map, take his timings, use his game sense. Like, he's a very, very good player when he has the tempo around him, and setting the tempo is not something that he does super great, in my opinion. So if Leviathan can kind of figure that out, put him in more of a supporting role, I think he will absolutely fry, become one of the best players in the entire world again. Just be in a position where he's comfortable. And as it stands at the spearhead, I don't think it's going to work out.